Good afternoon, students. Are you able to see the slides?
Good afternoon, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So we will start with what we have studied in the previous lecture. I think I can switch off the camera. It will save your bandwidth. Yeah. So let us see what we have discussed in the previous lecture. We started with something series parallel connection and so on, and then we have taken this example in which we have considered the what is called as current division rule, right? So for current division rule, I have given one shortcut that if the total current is given to you, that is I, and it is divided into, let us say, two branches, and each of the branch is having R1 and R2 as the resistances. In that case, if you are interested in calculating the, let us say, current in the branch where R1 is connected, then you have to take the other resistance. Okay. So I1 is I into this R2 divided by R1 plus R2. Similarly, if you are interested in calculating I2, then you can write I2 is the other resistance R1 multiplied with total current I and divided by R1 plus R2. I hope this was clear to everyone, and you can really memorize it also in a very simple way. Now, we have considered some example. We have calculated the equivalent resistance through some circuit, looking into it, and then we have discussed another example where again we calculated the resistance looking into this port. Then some more example using the current division rule also you can find out what is the current flowing in the circuit for a particular branch. Now in the today's case we'll again see one example and then we'll go for looking for what is loop and node analysis. So let us assume that we are interested in calculating the I1, I2 and I3 current and VA, VB. So what you have to do is, one way which we have so far discussed is to merge all the resistances. Okay, so 3K and 3K you can merge. So 3K is in series with 3K. So that will leads to 6K. There are various methods that we'll see in the subsequent section. But if whatever we have studied so far, based upon that only I'm going to discuss with this example, and then we'll go for what is the loop method and nodal analysis method. So the equivalent circuit can be drawn in this way now. Since you have merged this 3K and 3K, now you can replace it by a single 6K. This is also 6K. And then you are having one battery that is plus minus 12 volts, and that's 9K. Now, in order to use the current division, you want to find out the volt current flowing in this branch. Okay, this one, let us say this is I. So that you still don't know. So far we have not said any other technique. So what you have to do is you have to merge these two resistance. So 6K in parallel with 6K, what is that? Can anyone tell me what is 3K? Okay. So now this is 3K, that's 9K, and this is 12. Now it's very simple. You can easily find out the current flowing in this loop, and that is what the total current, which is here, I1. Okay, let us I'll put it as I1 then. So now I1 can be written as 12 divided by 9 plus 3K, that is 12 by 12K. And what is what is this?
1 milliampere.
1 milliamperes. So 1 milliampere is the total current which is flowing from this source. That means you are having now I1. Now you can very well use the current division. So let us take this circuit and let us try to use the current division. You are having the current which is flowing here, that is I1. Let us say this is I2. and this is I3. So if I'm interested in, let us say I2, now since 6K, 6K both are same, so current will be equally divided into both of the branches. Please remember, if both the resistances are same connected in parallel, then the current will be same on in both the cases. Just to use the previous formula, for one case I will just solve here. So if I'm interested in, let us say, this current, then I will take the other resistance 6 into the current flowing in this branch, that is I1, that is 1 milli, divided by 6K into 1 milli, divided by 6K plus 6K. So what is it? This is 0.5 milliamperes. And obviously, if the total current is 1 milliampere and the other branch is 0.5, so basically you need not to calculate. You can simply say that I1 is also, I3 in this case, I3 is also 0.5 milliamperes. So the current flowing in this branch is 0.5 milli. The current flowing in this branch is 0.5 milli. And the current in this branch is 1 milli. So I hope this is clear to everyone how we are calculating for simple circuit. Now, what is the other part? Calculate VA and VB. So VA is the voltage drop across this 6 kilo ohm resistance. So 6 kilo ohm multiplied with the current, that is 0.5 milli. And this comes out to be VA is 3 volts. And you are interested in drop across resistance. So the current you know, and hence VB will become 3K into 0.5 milli, which comes out to be 1.5 volts. Okay. So I hope this is clear to everyone how to solve for such simple circuit. Is there any doubt? Okay, next is a delta Y connection. So such kind of circuits which are shown here when the resistance are connected in such a fashion, or in general you can consider any passive element which is connected in this fashion. Okay, it can be inductor combination, it can be capacitor combination, whatever. This is called as a delta Y combination. So why you are using the word delta and Y? This looks like a delta, okay, or maybe star and a triangle, okay, or delta Y. So this obviously looks like the Y. They are write it as WYEY, and this looks like the delta. That's why you are calling it as a delta Y. So these two are interchangeable. We can always find out the equivalent circuit of a given Y, and similarly you can always find out the equivalent circuit for the delta connection. Now how to convert that one, that we will see. So it's a typical circuit. It looks like a two-port network, which we have so far not seen. Generally, whatever we have discussed so far is a single port, right? You're having some resistance connected in this way, and finally you have to calculate the value of resistance. That's what we have seen, but it is a very standard formation of circuit in which you will be getting delta and Y combination. So how to find out this? This is one way of representing it. Doesn't matter. Since we want to find out the equivalent circuit, I'll take this here. Let us assume that this is A, that's B, and that's C. Okay, I have superimposed it. And this is RA, that's RC, and that's RB. And this is R1, R2, and R3. Okay, so what you can say is this will obviously become A, that will become B, and this is your C. This is A, that's B, and that's C. Fine. So we can see that A and C, in between that in delta it is RB connected. Look at here, this is RB, that's also RB. Now if you want to find out the equivalent resistance, that means how we can have the equivalent of this circuit. So this two-port combination, I want to replace it by this one, or this combination if I would like to replace by the other one. So that is what the equivalency we are looking for. So to find out that, what you have to do, you have to take one port at a time. Let us see if I am interested in starting with AC. Okay. So that's your C, this is the C for delta. Now keep this B open. Consider B as open. Nothing is connected to that. That means it is not connected to some other circuit. Okay, that means this is not there. Then what you can say, between A to C, what is the equivalent resistance here? The equivalent resistance is R1 plus R3. Similarly, if you see from this side, what is the equivalent resistance? This RC and RA are in series. Whatever comes is in parallel with RB. So how you can write here? RA plus RC in parallel with RB. So now we want to make the equivalent of these two circuits. That essentially means the resistance from looking from AC with respect to this circuit must be equal to the resistance for this delta with respect to AC. Is that okay? Resistance through the port AC for Y must be equal to resistance through AC through delta. I hope this is clear to everyone. Is that okay? Is that convincing? Are you able to understand this, what I want to say? If I want to make the equivalence of these two each other, that means what I want to say is, if I look into the circuit through AC for the Y connection, then the resistance must be equal to the AC for the delta connection. Then only you can see, or you can say that it is equivalent. Similarly for BC and similarly for AB. So that we will come to the later. Let us first write for here. Now RAC for the Y is given by R1 plus R3, and RAC for the delta is given by this term, that is RA plus RC in parallel with RB. So that is what is written here. Similarly, you can comment for the BC and for AB also. So RAB of Y must be equal to RAB of delta. Now you have to use these three equations and you have to manipulate in such a way that you will get R1 is a function which is expressed in terms of RA, RB and RC. Similarly, R2 is a function which is expressed in terms of RA, RB and RC. And R3 is also a function of RA, RB and RC. Can anyone quickly find out what is the value of R1, R2, R3? Do you remember that? Have you studied this?
Yes, sir.
Again, there is a shortcut to recall it, right? Do you remember that? What is that shortcut?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, at least one answer I am expecting. Yes, anyone can give the answer. You can unmute your mic.
So R1 is RB RC by RA plus RB plus RC.
Let us see your answer is correct or not. R1 is RB RC divided by RA plus RB plus RC. Absolutely right. This is what is the answer. Okay. Similarly, R2 is RA RC divided by RA plus RB plus RC, and R3 is RA RB divided by RA RB and RC. Right. So in this way, you can write. Will not give too much time for the derivation of the other part. These three equations can be utilized to determine RA, RB, and RC. So you can always convert a given delta into Y or a given Y into delta. So these are what the equations for RA, RB, and RC. We'll come to our some of the circuit examples. Again, this is a very simple one where we are not going to use any specifically any nodal and all. This gives just the basic of the nodal analysis. Okay, so single node pair circuit. We are having one current source here. Let us assume it is 20 milliamps. And the resistance R1 is 1 kilo ohm. R2 is 3 kilo ohm. And R3 is 7 kilo ohm. And now we are interested in calculating the I1, I2, and I3. So what you can do? You can use the current division rule. Can anyone tell me how the current division rule can be utilized here?
First, we'll find effective resistance, sir.
Okay. Already, I think the solution is given, but I'm looking for how to use the current division rule.
Sir, I think first we'll find the voltage, and in parallel connection, voltages are same, sir. Then we can find current in the respective circuits through the resistors, sir.
Now, without finding the voltage, is it possible?
Sir, we can actually, as it is a parallel combination,
Ah.
we don't need to find voltage, sir. We'll just equate the voltages in the three branches, and then we'll use Kirchhoff law so that we'll get one value of current by which we can calculate the other values of current using that voltage equation.
No, that and all is okay. You can always do that. What I'm asking is, can I apply the current division rule? The current division rule which we have just now studied, that I want to apply here. There are various methods. You will be definitely ending up with the correct answer, but I want to specifically use the current division.
Sir, we'll find the fraction by which the total current will, that one, sir.
Correct.
So we'll find R equivalent.
For how many resistance? All the three resistance put together or only two?
All three, I think.
No, in that case, the current is already there with you.
Only two, sir.
Only two, right? I hope somebody got the point, what I was looking for.
Oh, yes, sir.
Now, can you use that one and tell me how it can be done?
First, we'll find effective resistance of R2 and R3, sir.
R2 and R3. Yes, absolutely right. That's what I was looking for. Where is my pen? Yeah, so it's, if you specifically want to solve it using this, then you have to first take it into that point, and maybe you can do it in this way. Of course, that is a, what you can say, that it's a time-taking method. Just to use what we have studied in that way, I just wanted. Okay, so don't worry. I'm not going to ask such kind of questions in the exam. These are very simple. Just to see whether we are able to use the techniques which we are studying here, right? So what you have to do, you have to first write down the equivalent circuit or draw the equivalent circuit like this. You have to merge this R2 and R3, and then you can utilize what you call it as this current division rule. So what will happen if you are doing so? You can multiply this 20 milli into R2 in parallel with R3 and divided by R1 plus R2 in parallel with R3. Okay, so what will happen? You will be getting current which is flowing in this branch. And let us say if this is I1, total current is given to you 20. So 20 milli minus I1 is the current which is flowing in this branch, I23. Okay, that means here. Now again, for this combination, you can use the current division, and then you can write I2. Can you tell me the I2 equation? I2 is, are you getting my point? I2 is, please anyone?
$20 milliamps into
Not,
that equation, sir.
why 20 milliamps?
So 20 minus I1.
20 minus I1, or you can call that as I23. I23 into what? Into this resistance.
R3 by
7K divided by 7K plus
3.
3K. Is that okay? Now, can anyone just quickly solve and tell me what is the value you are getting? Is this the same? See, if you are attending this such kind of subjects, you must have your calculator with you. If not, at least you should use some way of using your mobile calculator or something, whatever. But you should have all these things with you.
Sir,
Yes, please.
sir, after we find I23, can't we just simply subtract I23 from 20 milliamperes to get I1, sir?
Anyway, you can find out I23 and then subtract, you will be getting I1, no problem.
Okay, sir.
That also can be done. But I just want to use only current division rule. Okay, so
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
and I23 can also be computed. I23 will become now 20 milli into R1, that is 1K, divided by 1K plus R2 in parallel with R3. I hope
Yes,
this
sir.
will come, right? So once you are having this, then 20 milli minus I23 is your I1. So one step more you can reduce. Anyway, it's the same
Yes,
number of
sir.
steps will be required. So is that clear? What I wanted to show from in this case is you can use the current division rule and you can find out the things in this way.
Okay, sir.
The next question is also in a similar way. The only thing is there's the current directions are changed. So that's it.
Sir,
There is no much. Yeah.
sir, the current division is only used in these parallel circuits. Sir?
Yeah. Whenever the resistances are in parallel, then the current division can be used.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now this bridge circuit, I hope you have already studied the bridge circuits also. So in this, we can see the voltage division also. Let us try to bring in the voltage division rule. So if we want to find out the RAB resistance, that means this one. So what are the ways by which you can find out the RAB resistance and the current I? One way is to solve the bridge. Now here you are having a delta. Okay, so you can convert that into its equivalent Y, and then you can solve. That is the one way. Am I right? The other way, since you are only interested in specific value, which is the total resistance through the source, then what you can do is, if you could find this current I, and later if you perform 100 by I, then obviously you are ending up with RAB. Is it okay? So how to calculate the RAB? Again, I think you need to look into the bridge. And what is the constraint? Yes, please.
Star delta module can use it, sir.
Which model?
That Y model, sir. Y and delta.
Anything. Either Y or delta. There is a Y also. This is consists of these star, or what you can say Y. So it can be used. It's dependent upon what really is the simpler one for you.
Okay, sir.
So I will be leaving this exercise for you people. You can solve it. If you are facing the trouble, you can then ask me. But the very important point which I am going to discuss here is, which you might have already studied, but it's important to recall. Whenever there is a bridge circuit like this, the first and foremost thing you should always miss is whether the bridge is balanced or not. What is the meaning of balanced bridge? That means the cross multiplication of the resistances. If it is equal to the cross multiplication of the other resistances. So what will happen if that is this case is happening? If that is happening,
Transit 0, sir. But 20 amperes.
so, the current through this branch will be 0. That means what? If I am saying, let us say this is P and that is Q, that means Vp is equals to Vq. They both are having same potential. So Vp minus Vq will lead to 0. If the voltage difference is 0, current cannot flow. Hence, there will not be any current through 20 ohms. And then simply you can write or draw the bridge in this way. Okay, so these two are in series. Whatever comes is in parallel with each other. So in this case also you need to first identify. So 15 to 24 and 13 to 10. So obviously it seems it is not balanced one. So you have to either go for various ways of using the star delta connection. So I'm leaving this exercise for you. You have to take the snapshot of this one and you should come up with the solution for that. It's a very simple one. I hope there should not be any difficulty. In case you are not getting, you can please Can always ask me. We will discuss that if you are not getting it in the next section.
Sir, I got RAB as 40.
I don't have answer, it seems, at this moment.
Yeah, okay, sir.
So I will write it here. Maybe in the next class, if somebody is coming up with a different answer, then we will see that one. Okay, don't look at the thank you slide. It came in between. Now we are having something called as the nodal analysis. So nodal analysis essentially depends on the what is called as your KCL. So in KCL, what you will do, you will be taking node current or the branch currents basically at a particular node. So in this case, we will be considering a node and we will be writing the nodal equations for that one. Okay. And that is what we are calling as a nodal analysis. So how many different nodes are there? This is first node. That's the second node. And this is the third node. These are just the wires. Nothing is connected here. Okay. They are just drawn here to make your circuit look like a good one. Otherwise, you could have drawn this circuit in this way also. So 1, 2, and 3 nodes are there. Is that okay? How to identify nodes? I hope this is clear to now you everyone.
Yes,
So
sir.
I'll not, okay, but it doesn't give a nice appealing look. So let's not go into that. So there are 3 nodes. You have to take one node as the ground, then only you can do the calculation, right? Because of the obvious reasons. Now, which node to be taken as ground? In this case, this is already shown, this is a ground. Let us assume this is not there. So you should always take a node as ground where maximum number of branches are connected. What is the reason why we should take such kind of node as a ground node? Because as soon as you take that, the potential will become for that particular node will become 0. Okay. So one part, a big part is over. I will show you how. Let us assume that you are considering this as a ground node. Okay. So only 3 branches are associated with it. But if I take this as the ground node, then how many branches are associated with it? 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So more number of branches are associated with it, and hence it will ease the calculation. Okay, otherwise it's not compulsory that the bottom node only needs to be considered as ground. It's not there. You can take any node as the ground node, provided you should take only that node as a ground where maximum number of branches are connected to make your calculation easier. Okay, just to make your calculation easier, you should take always that particular node as ground node where maximum number of branches are connected with. Is that okay? Now, what is the nodal analysis? Whenever you are going for the nodal analysis, you should write the KCL at that particular node. So KCL at node 1, let us assume the currents here. So this is already given, this direction is inward. If nothing is mentioned, you can always consider the direction as the outward. If nothing is given, you can always consider the direction as the outward. So let us write for the node 1. And you can write it as 1 amperes is equals to current in this 2 ohms. Let us say I1. Current in this 6 ohm. Let us say this is I2. So I1 plus I2. But this I1, I2 are unknown to you. So you can say that this is V1, that's V2. So the voltage at this particular node is V1 and the voltage at this particular node is V2. So one can write it as 1 ampere is V1 minus 0 divided by 2 plus V1 minus V2 divided by 6. So this is your first node equation. Now you should always consider the node for which you are writing the nodal equation is at highest potential. What does it mean? You should always consider the node under consideration is at highest potential. It means that unless otherwise mentioned, whatever the currents you are considering are all outgoing current. So in this case, as it was not mentioned, I have considered the outward current. Here also it was not mentioned, I have taken as the outward current. Whereas in this case, the direction of current source is already mentioned to you, so we have not touched it. Is that okay? So what one thing you have to always remember while writing the nodal equation, whatever node you are considering, consider that it is at highest potential. Now let us write for the node number 2. Please everyone listen carefully, it's very important aspect. If you are clear with the nodal analysis, you can solve most of the questions from the subject. Now the node under consideration is this. Unless otherwise mentioned, we'll always consider the currents are outwards. Okay, so let us consider this is, let us say I3 and that's I4. And this current, this branch current is outward because it is already given. So one can write the current equation as 4 amperes plus I3 plus I4 is 0. So it is 4 amperes plus I3 is what? Potential difference divided by the resistance. So V2 minus V1 divided by 6. Why I am writing V2 minus V1 with a positive sign? Because I have considered that the node under consideration is at highest potential. Hence I am writing it as V2 minus V1 plus V2 divided by 7. So that comes out to be 0. So now how many unknowns are there? 2 unknowns, V1 and V2. And how many linear equations you require? 2 linear equation. So which are already there with you. So one can easily solve and find out V1 and V2. Please do this calculation and tell me what is the value of V1 and V2. And if you are facing any doubt in writing these equations, please let me know.
So node 1 is at lower potential, sir.
For which case?
First node, sir.
No. That is at the higher potential. That's what I am saying, right? Node under consideration. Node under consideration is always at the highest potential. So in the case A, we have considered node 1, hence we are considering it as the highest potential. That means what? If the no current directions are mentioned in the circuit, then we'll always consider that the current for those particular branches are outward with respect to that particular node. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
If you are having the calculator with you and you are not able to use it, you can switch on the camera. I can right now explain you how to use it. But don't sit idle. Anyone is having the scientific calculator? Yes, please. I'm waiting for your answer.
Sir, is there any possibility that we'll get a decimal value, sir?
I do not have the answer as usual. Let me check. What is the answer you are getting?
Minus 2.17 as given, sir.
No, it's not 2.17.
Sir?
No, it's not 2.17. Maybe you can check it one more time. Anyone else who tried it?
V1 equals to 5 volts.
Anyone else who got this 5 volts as V1? Yes, please. Anyone else?
V2 minus 14.
V1 is equal to minus 2 volts, I got, sir.
V1 is equal to minus 2 volts.
Okay, and V2?
Minus 14 volts.
Correct. So V1 is minus 2 and V2 is minus 14. Are you using the calculator?
No, sir.
Nobody is having the scientific calculator with you? No, anyone is there that who is having the calculator but not able to use it. Any such case is there? If you don't have at this moment, I cannot help. But if you're having it and you're not able to use it, you can please tell me. I will explain right now. I think there is no such case, it seems.
Now I got it as minus 2, sir.
Yeah, that answer is correct. See, the biggest trouble with nowadays is you don't have any physical classes here. If you are facing such kind of small things, because after 2 years, the things will not be same again as the same scenario as what it was there for 2 years back. And in such a situation, it's not good if you are not really able to utilize the calculator completely. Sanjay Reddy is writing some 168 minus 78 is 98 instead of 90. I do not know what, may I know what Sanjay wants to tell? Whether he is getting minus 2 and minus 14?
Yes, sir, I got it, sir. Like while doing, I took 168 minus 70 as 78 as 98 instead of 90, sir. There
Fine.
I did a mistake.
Okay, good. And Bhavya Shri got 5 and minus 14. Whether now are you able to get it -2 and whatever, I mean, -2 and -14?
Sir, I'm checking, sir. I got 5 only.
Okay, Mahidhar, what is the case?
Minus
14.
14, sir.
Okay, you got it. Anyone else? Only 2-3 people, right? No, other just want to pay the fees and sit quietly.
-2 14 got, sir.
Okay, you got it. Good. Do we need to have a discussion on how to solve it, or we can move ahead? Anyone who want to see the solution?
Yes, sir, I got it, sir.
Okay, good. Then we will move ahead, right? If you're not asking means I'll take it as you know everything. If somebody asks the question, then only we will discuss that point. Fine, good. So let's go to the next part. So this is what the answer, the same thing. So I'll just quickly recap. I will provide for this. Whenever you want to write the nodal, so how you can write the nodal equation. So first thing, the thumb rule, node under consideration at highest potential, and second one is if nothing is mentioned, always consider the current are moving outwards and positive. That means inward current are negative. Okay, if you're not able to read, I do not know, there is these tabs and all are not very good for handwriting. If you're not getting it, you can tell, because I'm whatever I'm writing, I'm saying that also. So I'll try to make it as much as clear as possible. So whenever you are writing the nodal, instead of writing the KCL, you can directly jump to the nodal. So let us take that particular node. So for node 1, V1 is the voltage, and see how many branches are connected to it. So those many current will come into picture. Okay, 3 branches means 3 terms will come. So let us start with 6 ohm. So what is the current? Current is always the potential difference between 2 points divided by the resistance connected between them. So V1 minus V2 divided by 6. So I'm considering outward here. This is also outward because nothing is mentioned. Now the branch current of this, that is V1 divided minus 0 divided by 2. And then 1 ampere, which is moving inward. So inward current is negative, and hence this is 0. So that's equation number 1. Similarly, equation number 2 for this. So now V2 is under consideration. So V2 is at the highest potential. That means now whatever currents are moving or associated with V2 are outward current, if the direction is not mentioned. So you can write V2 minus V1 divided by 6 plus V2 minus 0 divided by 7 plus 4 is 0. So these two equations we are having, and that's what we got in the previous discussion. Now let's go to the next part. Here, how many nodes are there? Can anyone quickly tell me? It's already mentioned here, but you have to find out how many nodes.
4, sir.
4 nodes are there, correct? And as I told you, you can take that particular node in which most of the branches are connected, such that your calculation is easier. So either you can take this one, you can take this one, you can take this one, you can take any one, right? So we will consider this as the ground node. You can consider any one and you can proceed for that. But let us not complicate our life too much at this initial stage. So one node is grounded, so no need to write the nodal equation. And you can even think of, see, for a nodal equation, number of terms is equals to number of branches. Am I right? Are you able to connect with it? Look at here, number of terms, 1, 2, and 3. So if I are writing for this one, number of branches, how many? 3 are connected to it. 1, 2, and 3. So 3 terms you are getting. Okay, so one term you could drop it. If you would have used this node number 3 and some other node as the ground, then in that case you will get 4 different equations. Sorry, 4 different terms. So that itself is increasing, right? Are you getting the point why we have to choose that particular node as a ground for which more number of branches are connected? Because it will reduce your calculation time and the complexity. So let us write the nodal for this node 1. So V1 node. So V1 is under consideration, means it is at the highest potential. So how many branches are connected here? There are 3 branches connected. And you can see there is a dependent source and its value is given by 2ix, and the ix is the current which is flowing in 2 ohm resistance. Okay, so you can consider that ix is v1 minus v2 divided by 2. Let us have this equation first. Now write down the nodal equation for v1. So unless otherwise mentioned, all the currents are outwards. Okay, so ix is already given to you. The only thing which is not given to you is the current flowing in this 4 ohms, so that you have to consider outward. Now let us write the nodal equation. Minus 3 plus ix plus v1 minus v3 by 4. Why v3? Because this 4 ohm is connected between these 2 branches. So v1 minus v3, that is equals to 0. So let us call this as equation number 2. Sorry. Now equation number 3, v2 node into consideration. So this current is already mentioned to you. So with respect to the node 2, it is inward. The rest all we will consider outward current. So one can quickly write v2 minus 0 divided by 4. That is right for this, v2 minus v3 divided by 8. And then you are having this 2 ohms resistance branch where the current is already given to you, that is ix, which is moving towards the node, and hence it has to be negative. Ix is 0. So that's your third equation. Let us consider v3 node. So this node, 3 branches, one is already given to you, and you have to consider, if nothing is mentioned, all the currents are outwards. So you can write v3 minus v1 divided by 4 for this term, plus v3 minus v2 divided by 8 for this, and then plus 2ix.
And that is towards the negative, right?
Which one?
The current is coming towards the nodes, right?
Yeah, I will write it here. Current entering the node we are considering as negative. Current leaving the node is positive. Okay.
So then for V3 node, V3 minus V1 by 4 plus V3 minus V2 by 8, they should be negative, right?
This you are saying?
Yes, sir, those two terms, as they are coming towards.
No, that's what I was saying. You have to consider this. What I have told is particular node under consideration that is at the highest potential. So in this section, you have considered V3 node. Okay, you are writing the nodal equation for which node? You are writing it for the third node. So that you have to now consider as the highest potential.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so highest potential means what? If nothing is mentioned, the currents are moving outward because current flow from high potential to a lower potential. That is why this is a positive value. Is that okay?
Okay, sir.
Is there any doubt now?
No, sir.
Okay, three different sets are coming. Please understand. Here I am considering V1 as the highest potential because I am writing for the V1 node. Here I am considering V2 as the highest potential because I am writing for the V2 node. And now I am considering V3 as the highest potential because I am writing for the V3 node. Okay. So you may wonder the same current. Sometimes I am writing as a negative. Sometimes I am writing as a positive. Okay. Here V3 minus V1 divided by 4 is become negative. Right. But please understand, I have to satisfy the KCL. And in order to satisfy that, we have to write in this way. Because the directions are not mentioned, I am considering in an outward way, and that's what we are writing it here. So how many unknowns are there? You are having 4 unknown. And what are those? V1, V2, V3, and Ix. And how many equations? 4 equations. This is your first, second, third, and fourth. So 4 equations are there and 4 unknowns are there. So 4 linear equation, 4 unknown, you can always solve and you can get the values of V1, V2, and V3. So the values of V1, V2, and V3 are already there to you, and you can even calculate the value of Ix. So please make a note of all these values. Try to solve this question by your own. And in case you are facing any doubt or trouble, you can always ask me, right? Such kind of the questions are there in your book also. Please refer to the book for similar questions. In the next class, we will see further some of the examples with respect to the nodal and the loop analysis. And then we will go to what is called as a super node and super mesh or super loop. Okay. And we will be looking for some questions from the loop analysis also. So far we have only considered the nodal. So nodal is based on KCL, whereas the loop analysis is based upon KVL. Okay. So in the next class, we will see these two aspects. And then after that, we will go for the theorems. Okay. So that's it for today. If you are facing any doubt, you can always ask me. You can make a note of all these things and you solve it by your own, write down all these equations by your own again and solve it using the calculator, and let us see whether you are getting the same answer or not. And if you are facing any doubt, you please note it down, and in the next class you can ask me. So thank you everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Do we have any other class?